So thank you everybody for your patience. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty and we are back. So now I would like to invite Muditha Batagoda. So he would be actually walking you through, and he is the consulting manager of Virtusa, and he would actually walk you through AI and a bit of UX as well. So welcome, Muditha. Stage for you.
Thank you so much. And good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are doing, enjoying the day and learning new stuff. I consider myself as a product designer, and my job title is consulting manager on design experience, human experience. So let's take a deep dive into UX and AI and understanding how we can improve inclusiveness and accessibility when it comes to products that we design or create through AI. When I'm in a deep dive, it's going to be a very deep dive, so you guys have to be very careful. So I will ask questions, you might have to give answers, and be ready for that as well. That's why if you feel like you are slipping on the water, that means you're not here, you're elsewhere. Make sure that you guys are sticking here with me. So to construct our discussion, we will have to focus on the following ideas that we are going to discuss, or the steps that we are going to discuss. I will give you a brief moment to digest what we are going to discuss, which I'm going to tell you, and what we're going to discuss. And we are off. So if you consider product design, and if you consider human experience, we always consider accessibility as a powerful tool. And if you think about, think like this. Rather than me explaining theoretical aspects, think like this. After this session, you're going to have, you're not going to have tea right away. Assume that you're going to go home, and let's say you met a couple of your friends and say, oh, Machan, let's go home and, sit together and have some tea. No, not tea, but something. It's cool, better. And you just remember that you have a very much of a smart home, and you want to show off not show off, but you remember that the blinds are still open and the sunlight is still coming to the house, and you want to close the blinds. You say, either Siri or Alexa, or anything which your AI bot will have a name, and say, close the blinds. If the application will say, what? Or if the application starts just saying, you will start wondering, okay, that's quite embarrassing in front of my friends. That might actually had happened to you as well. The AI, or power of AI, actually, what does it do is, it actually look into these critical problems and try to create, or through AI, we are trying to create understandable, meaningful, and intuitive solutions. It's not just like you are not using AI right now, right? According to Statistica, 30% of our users will use AI applications or AI bots in your phones throughout the day. It can be starting like the day from beginning, saying, okay, Alexa, Siri, what's the weather outside, to calling your mother while you are traveling, what I did today, just before the discussion that we are having, not just before, while I was coming to this event. I call my mom because it's kind of like a check that my mom do when I travel outside. She always thinks that I'm going to crash the car and die. Doesn't happen until now, not sure. I have to give a call to her. Then what I did was I said, Siri, hey Siri, call home. I have done it millions of times in my life. And today it asked me, which? I thought, I got really rich somehow, and secretly I owned some asset. I didn't know Siri knows what I was talking about. I didn't investigate it, to be honest, because I was in a hurry. I had to focus on so many things today, and I asked the same thing again, and Siri didn't understood. And the third time I asked again, it came up and said, which? I was so frustrated, and my tone got really different, And the fourth time, it knew that I'm going to change a little bit of a wording of what she's telling me now, and I'm going to tell her back. What it did was, it quickly gave me the option of the most possible one, which is calling just home. Which means that I didn't have any disability for the moment. I was kind of impaired because I couldn't touch the phone. I have glasses. Obviously, I'm visually impaired for a certain extent. But the thing is, I assumed that my English was good enough to make sure that Siri could understand me and said, okay, you are calling home and it should dial home. Think a person like me, which is temporarily disabled, or people like you, we call ourselves, we are always temporarily able, right? Any of our lives, in our life, we might have fallen, we might have got sick, we might have got some disease, or maybe we have a motor skill disability, which prevents us from being naturally well. We'll go through these kind of scenarios where we can be in a situation where the system or the application that we are trying to interact with is not interacting properly. Think about 1 billion humans, according to the statistics of World Health Organization, as they say, 1 billion humans will have some sort of disability. If you look into this picture, if it's not the picture, but the video that is playing in the background, you'll be able to see multiple, different people going here and there. They might be using their smartphones, they might be using their own devices, and they are interacting with the world. If we can make applications to support these humans, it would be a huge impact. Which brings me to this topic where accessibility lies. I know that you might have seen this slide millions, hundreds of times and say, okay, these are the accessibility issues that we are going to have. I'm going to do the same, right? So if you look into accessibility, you will have humans with inability in performing day-to-day tasks due to a psychological issue or a defect they might be born with that disability. Likewise. And then there are people who don't have visibility to the world, where their eyes are not working as normal humans, so they might be having total visual impairment or partial visual impairment. They might be using assistances when it comes to working with the world. And then speech disabilities, people who are cannot speak totally, or there's people with stammering issues, which has a huge social impact. Likewise. And then again, hearing impairment, partially or fully, and then motor skill disabilities, which doesn't mean sometimes when I go to presentations, sometimes people ask, what is motor skill disability? It doesn't mean that you can't drive a motor vehicle. It means that you are temporarily or permanently being disabled through an accident or something else. So if you look into these areas, AI has already stepped into one of the key things, which is serving for people with disabilities. If you consider disabilities, I will give you one really nice example, which is, this project is done by Google. It has been done by Google, Project Eponia. It is primarily focusing on people with speech disabilities, which means that you might be able to speak, but not fully understand, or the person who's at the receiving end will not be able to fully understand how or what you are talking about. Let's look into this example.
2012, my body started to do things that it hadn't done before. My muscles were twitching, I was stumbling, or I was not making a play I would have always made. I just wasn't the same athlete. I wasn't the same football player that I'd always been.
I mean, this could be my story. I mean, I'm too strong, but then things got hard. Slowly but surely, my body started to fight me.
Okay.
ALS, which stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. It causes the death of neurons controlling voluntary muscles.
My name is Julie. I'm a product manager here at Google. For the past year or so, I've been working on Project Euphonia. Project Euphonia has two different goals. One is to improve speech recognition for people who have a variety of medical conditions. The second goal is to give people their voice back, which means actually recreating the way they used to sound before they were diagnosed.
Yeah, the same one.
It automatically uploaded.
This episode that this is what am I losing a lot in my life. One thing I stand by, if it's worth doing, I'll do it. Put it up and sing me a song. I view this decision as an opportunity. If I can impact someone else, then that is enough. And my personal plan is to serve as many presidents as I can for me. Even if that means I will use my last breath of words.
How many have you done, Tim?
I have 2066.
2066.
For Tim, we were lucky because Tim has a career of NFL player, so he did multiple radio interviews and TV interviews, so he sent us this footage.
Hey, this is Tim Shaw, special teams animal. We got Christmas coming up, so we need to find out what's happening with these Titans players during the Christmas season. See, if you gotta hesitate with this, probably a no.
Tim will be able to type whatever he wants, and the prototype will say it in Tim's voice. Just so you know, this one here was trained only using recordings of your voice, and this one here was trained using recordings of your voice and also from other participants from ALS-TDI who went through the same exercise of So, okay, so let's, I was hoping we could give them a try. Are we ready?
Who are you talking about?
Okay.
I got it.
Is it coming?
Yes.
Are you working today?
In 2019, Tim wrote a letter to his younger self. They are words written by a 34-year-old man with ALS who has trouble communicating, sent back in time to a 22-year-old on the cusp of NFL greatness.
So let me give this a try. So I just like using this letter because it's just so beautiful. So let me see if this is gonna work.
So I decided to write you this letter because I have so much to tell you. I want to explain to you why it's so difficult for me to speak, the diagnosis, all of it, and what my life is like now, which is one day you will be in my shoes, living with the same struggles.
It's his voice that I've forgotten.
I know you.
Right. So if you watch that video, you understand that speech impairment is not a simple thing. It's a really difficult issue where if you've been in school, I think you probably have seen people with speech impairments. What does it do is we try to catch as much as words. It depends on data, to be honest. And the way we design it, It's a very simple interface that outputs a data set based on the input that has been given and then trained throughout for some time and different speech recognition, like speech patterns and all. So if you consider overall industry as not overall industry to be honest, so a UX point of views, so a couple of areas we can highlight. One of the areas is the speech recognition. As you saw, you can recognize speeches, and in some cases, there is a reason why we don't have voice-activated lifts, right? If you go into a lift in a country where you speak in a certain accent and you speak in your Sinhalese accent or your Indian accent, if you speak on your Jamaican accent, the lift will not understand you, and it will either it will close itself and you'll be stuck until you've been rescued, or sometimes you will have to make sure you learn the accent and move along. But the thing is, through different speech recognition mechanisms, humans are able to speak better now. They are able to understand and then communicate better. And it has worked on diversely on different cultures as well, where you have different accents and then use of words as well. If you consider UK as a country and then Scotland and Ireland, they have different accents and then slang words to same word that you use in English. Likewise, speech to text. And then again, this is a very key aspect of human interaction as well. If you are working, and then again, it's really difficult for you to speak out the words. Let's say you don't have a good voice, you want to speak into the outside world. You can use speech to text technologies and then sign language recognition. If you consider people with disabilities or people who can't speak, who can't see the world, most of the time they will end up using sign language, especially people who can't speak. So if we let them out or just push them away and then create products that doesn't work for them, it will not look good for the people. And then again, if you consider, especially YouTube, we were just watching a YouTube video, right? So when you see that video, if you are not able to hear it, you can always go for subtitles, automated subtitles, live subtitles, which allows you to create the interaction much more simpler, much more easier, and much more friendly to the users. And then real-time translation, as I told you, if you are using different languages, if you have language barriers, AI has introduced AI translations when it comes to diverse of languages, which allowing users to be very interactive when it comes to products and services. But the thing is, I'm having a difficult time trying to understand how to navigate between the video and then the presentation. I'm really sorry about this. I'll try my best. Oh yeah, it's working. First time.
So I really like this latest iOS 18 release. There's all sorts of things to be excited about here.
iOS 18, the most exciting things are the AI.
So have all these features for live recognition, text recognition, all just available on the VoiceOver rotor. So for somebody who uses VoiceOver, you can actually get to them really easily now. And the same for actually changing voices. So you can actually really quickly change between different voices. So it might be, for me, I quite like having a faster voice whenever I'm just sort of browsing around on my phone. If I want to read something, an email or something on a website, I kind of like to slow it down, because that's the point where I really need to pay attention to what's happening. And now you can do that really easily.
The writing tools feature, which is a way of, if you're not very good at writing messages or text or document, you can get your phone to proofread. More importantly than that, you can change the style of your message. The AI writing tools can change your style to a friendly style for informal chat, a concise style if, like me, you write way too much or speak too much.
So I'm
Brilliant. So if you have seen that example, if you have Apple devices, most of you have seen this voiceover technology where you can it can describe what you see, and then it can describe where you're going, which applications you're interacting with. There are some limitations come to Apple's voiceover technology, But the thing is, it's overall supporting humans to create the world a better place through design. So if you consider interaction, like the product as a whole, it always works with emotions. AI also has to evolve into understanding proper emotions of the humans, because if you think about what you have in your phone as an app, it has emotional connect to you, right? If you open Facebook, if you open Instagram, if you open TikTok, if you open whichever the application or whichever the device, whichever the person that you interact, it's all about emotions, right? Now even you're having emotional connection with me based on whether this guy is appealing to me or not, which can generate a preserved experience. But the thing is, if we can add emotional aspect when come to design and when come to AI, it can generate proper experiences rather than just making an interaction with the products or service. So these are a couple of examples I just want to take you through. The first one is emotional responsive interfaces. This is when we in real time, when we interact with the product or service, most of the time, or in certain scenarios, we end up with frustrations, right? You will interact with a product and then it might not open on time. Let's assume when you are in university, you're trying to submit the assessment. We do it just 5 minutes before, right? Most of the time we just do it just 5 minutes before. And half of the time we are struggling to do what? Click on submit. It doesn't work. When it works, it opens up 12 to 15 tabs. Now you have to go back and close each and every one by one. So if you are getting frustrated in real time, the application should be able to understand it and then understand your frustration, maybe clicks, maybe browsing between the applications, and then provide or simplify your interaction. We will come to this section when we are discussing more on the case study that we are going to go through. And then the second one is personalized emotional feedback. If you have been in United States a couple of years back, there's this application called Replica, which was a virtual assistant to you. It has become lonely person's boyfriend or a girlfriend. The emotional impact, it was mostly a chat application where you can chat with the virtual assistant. It was very intuitive, where the users were feeling like they are talking with a real human. And then there were some concerns saying that the virtual assistant has become more of a girlfriend or a boyfriend than an actual human. So this is what AI is capable of. And the other one is empathetic voice and tone. If you have been watching movies related to airplanes, you might hear in certain scenarios where you have a critical scenario where the plane is crashing or something is happening. What happens? A voice comes over and say, maybe pull up. If it is if there are male pilots, what is the voice that they are going to use? Males always, what? I don't know. Tell me. I'm just asking a general question. Tell me quickly. When your husband always, okay. It's a secret, I guess. Okay, fine. So when you have these voices, it calm. If it is calm, if it's like pull up, it's gonna crash. Obviously, you're gonna get panic and you go ahead and push it all the way down, and then you pray to the God and die. But if the voice is calm, even in certain scenarios as banking and all, where the people get really angry and frustrated on simple things, and they will scold back. If your voice is calm, they can't talk back again like that, right? How much we get angry, you speak in a very soft, nice voice. Huh? I can't fight with you now after that, right? What's the point? So likewise, there's this emotional impact when come to AI and services. I would love to show this. I think I am running out of a bit of a time, so I want to showcase the case study. Let's dive into cognition in design. So if you understand the human behavior, cognition is one of the biggest parts in human experience. If you think about how we are showcasing products and services, this is mainly, if you can go through an example, that will be the e-commerce application for the first one, where we minimize the cognitive load. You just show the most essential ones first, and then drill down from there, where you can make simple decisions and move from one and then to another and then to another. I think the best example that you can take is one of the best examples rather than e-commerce applications is the Netflix. I know that most of you are Netflixing and chilling on the weekend, at least watching Netflix. If you are watching Netflix, most of the time when you have an account, when you have gone through it multiple times, based on your preferences, likes, and the way have you watched, what have you watched, it will give you a list, my list, to watch, or your next list to watch. Based on your selections, these are the stuff. Likewise, it will help the user not to browse for everything, not to searching for everything. It will help the user access the application with ease, which is accessibility. And then again, it is inclusive regardless whether you have a disability or not. And then the other one is adaptive personalized interfaces. This is something that I think probably you will not see in most applications except for learning applications. One of the best examples is the Duolingo. Have you watched, have you used Duolingo in your life to learn a different language? It's very easy, right? It's very easy, and based on your difficulty, based on the difficulties, how you're performing, it changes and it helps you, right? My wife is crazy about this application, and then when we go out even, she was learning German. I was asking, why you are learning German? We are in Sri Lanka, what are you doing? And she was keep telling, I really like this application. It got me hooked up because it's really easy. Even though she doesn't have a disability, she doesn't have any issue. Or me, myself, I hate this application because of her, because she's not talking to me. She's going out and using the application. She's not talking to me. But this application is really intuitive. It makes the user understand the application, what can be done, what cannot be done. But there are some issues when come to humans with disabilities, such as people who are blind or humans who are blind cannot use the application as the same as the people who are using the application. Normal humans or not people who are not suffering from a disability. And the last one is enhancing recognition over recall. If you, let's say, I have seen this door move. It has to be open to the outside, right? Every person who comes here, most of the time I have seen, everyone touches the door, pull it into them, and then remembers, outside. Then you walk, which means you are failing an error, and you are learning from it and moving along. If you think about, if you consider doors, it's one of the most difficult usability objects in the world. It's called there's wording called the Norman doors by Sir Don Norman as well. But if you consider other applications, if you consider software applications or products, if you have to learn how to use an ATM, would it be intuitive? If, when you get the ATM card for the first time, nobody from the bank comes to you and sit or stand just next to you while you're inserting the card for the first time, say, Puta, let's start. This is what you have to do. Nobody tells you, right? It's self-explanatory. You have to insert the card and then you proceed along. You don't recall, you don't learn that. You go through your memory and your skill. And then if you look into applications, we can go iconography, infography, and then application usage. People create mental models while they are using an application. If the person has to learn, let's say a disabled person has to completely learn an application just because they are disabled and they are given a different application, that might not be the best example of usability when come to cognition. Right. So I wanted to show this case study. This is one of the case studies where I have failed miserably. I know most of you have success stories, and you bring in your best story to the discussion like this. Oh my God, why? Oh, I got really scared. Why is it asking me to install stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for my own presentation, I had to put passwords, so fine. Good. Interesting. Yeah, it works. Nice. I'm not going to save it. So it's a case study which is done by me. Hopefully the image loads. Fine. Let's go there. So I will tell you a story rather than explaining this whole jambalaya. One of the previous organizations that I'm worked with had a product which was primarily focusing on technicians, where they can do household work, they can do repairs and stuff like that. But the thing is, they were having a workforce of 13% in having some sort of a disability. And then they have to walk, or in most cases, they have to travel through busy intersections and stuff like that. Then they have their own vehicles to travel. The problem was that some of them got into accidents because they were using smartphones while they were in, I will tell you where the domain was. It was in Australia. The rules and regulations are very strict when it comes to driving and using phones. And some of them got really big into trouble, in big fines and all. And then they want to change the application. At the time, it was done in, I think, 2019 or 18, I can't remember, 19, maybe 20, 19 or 20. At the time, we didn't have much in AI. We had some chatbots. We were using Google API for the chatbot and all. But the thing is, the AI was not supporting as we intended to. The task was, they was asked to create a list of tasks that they have to go through, and then they can select which task they wanted to go. But the problem was, they were using manual mechanisms such as clicking on the touchpad and ending up with the police. So in order to avoid it, we gave them the option where, I know that this looks really complex, but it's not that complex. What we did was, we gave a solution. I think in previous discussions based on product design and all, you might have heard multiple times on how the design thinking process, how you can do a discovery, how you can create a persona, do empathy mapping, journey mapping, and then service blueprinting, and then creating interactive prototypes, going to interviews, doing observation sessions like that. That we have done on the very top, where we did a discovery process. I'm not going to explain intensively on each of them. These are done in order to understand how they are behaving, what they are doing, what they really need, and what are the things that they want to achieve in life and or as a job. And then we try to understand, okay, based on what we have learned, we came up with the model where we start analyzing the data. And we created perfect use based on, the data, which is hypothetical. This is where we start failing. This model, or in AI, if you have real data, I would love to have a discussion about this process. This works actually, to be honest, this works perfectly. The only thing is, it doesn't, we didn't have enough data, and then our project manager said, okay, Muditha, no time, no money. We can do it later, and it never came. If you think about any model that we are creating right now, or any model that let me close this. Okay, brilliant. So if you are creating a model, if you are interested in UX, you can use design thinking process, yes, but you have to customize that process based on your need. And then again, you have to think about your organization. This is a full-fledged process. It will take up to 6 months to get the data and then train it multiple times. And then go for accurate queues, where starting queues, ending queues, and then again, finalizing the whole process, or the solution that we are going to give. We gave a solution which is mildly in a state where it was good, but it was not where it's supposed to be. Which brings me to the final part. I was wondering whether I should do this because, you have gone through this, right? You have seen challenges, multiple challenges. AI in UX, if you think about UX in general, inclusiveness and then again accessibility will have loads of challenges. As you remember in the previous discussion, we were talking about the AI recruiting tool through Amazon, where they preferred males over females because of the data. And then again, there are many examples that you can take. I'm not going to go in deep on accessibility, and then again UX, and then to limitations. If you consider accessibility and then again inclusivity, it is not just for disabled people. It's not just for people who are disabled, who doesn't have capability just as ours. We also go through situations where we will not be able to access the applications as same as we do in previous time. So that is again partially being accessible or inaccessible for product design. So as designers, I will recommend you try to have some empathy when you are designing products. It's not for a perfect world. And learn some emotional intelligence. It's a really good plus point when it comes to product design. Which brings me, I know I don't have a discussion. I was planning, but I think I just passed a red tape, isn't it? Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much for listening in and being a wonderful crowd. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Muditha. I would like to know if we have any questions to Muditha. Anybody would like to ask any questions? Okay, looks like not. But still, if you have any questions, feel free to scan the QR code. If you can put the QR code up for a bit, you all can scan the QR code and submit any questions so that Muditha could get back to you later on. Right. So next up, we'll take 1 to 2 minutes to set things up, and then we'll move on to the next speech. Thank you. Guys, extremely sorry that I forgot that we'll have to hand over the gift to Muditha. I'm extremely sorry about that. I would like to invite Isuru and both Muditha on stage for that. Thank you, Muditha. Round of applause.